Anything more did we discuss? Sir, I need an answer from you people.
Sir.
Yeah, yes, Anandakrishnan.
Sir, we discussed about flow angularity, claw probe and spear probe.
Okay.
And after that we saw turbulence factor and all, sir.
Okay, turbulence factor. Anything more?
Measuring the turbulence.
Measuring the your
turbulence.
Yeah. Something more?
About the converging diverging diffuser in after the test section and all to recover the pressure and all that.
Okay. How will you measure your turbulence? So can you explain anyone about your turbulence sphere and pressure sphere? Because last class we have explained these two, pressure sphere and turbulence sphere. Quick sir, quick. Otherwise, I'll stop the class and go. Which one you want? Turbulence sphere and pressure sphere. If you guys are not preparing from the previous class, okay, I'm dealing with the theoretical concept only. I'm not still now I didn't go into the mathematical concept, because you need to know about the complete concept, how we are measuring your experimental techniques and how are we using. That is the one we are looking at right now. So I didn't go into the mathematical aspect of it. So if you are not going to open your notebook at least 1 hour before the class, there is no point in sitting in the class. Okay, anyway, so you look at this one, and what do you mean by turbulence? And your turbulence factor and turbulence intensity. Okay, you look at this one. You have another 50 minutes time. By 3 o'clock, you have to submit an assignment. That's all. Nothing more than that. I can't do anything more. I kept an assignment folder here. Okay, I'll go. That's all I can say, because there is no point in shouting from my side. And then I have created an assignment 3 folder. Okay, you look at that and submit it, and you can go. That's all. Within whatever the assignment I'm going to get, okay, I'll evaluate until 3 o'clock. Otherwise, I'm not going to do anything more, because there is no point. Okay, yesterday itself I told you several times. Okay, these are the things. Okay, your turbulence sphere and all, you are going to have a sphere that's going to, you are going to keep it in the your tunnel with the help of, you are going to measure the CD value with respect to Reynolds number and your drag coefficient. You are going to plot it. Already you know that your CD is equal to 0.3 is going to occur at the critical Reynolds number. That is a theoretical, your CD value for the critical Reynolds number for Reynolds number critical, and the same CD value, okay, for your present tunnel. Okay, you are going to get some data like that. So find out what is the your what is the Reynolds number for the particular CD value. Based on that, you can calculate your turbulence factor. That's what I told you in the last class. Is it right or wrong? So your turbulence factor is going to be so the critical Reynolds number for the sphere is going to be 3,85,000. 3,85,000. So your turbulence factor is equal to 3,85,000 divided by your RE, whatever the your effective Reynolds number you are going to get it from your tunnel. Okay, so then only you are going to study. Okay, let us stop the class here. We will see that on in the next class. Okay, next Monday. You guys go and prepare and submit it within 3 o'clock. Your turbulence sphere, your pressure sphere, and another thing is okay. The hardware anemometer, I'll take it separately. No point in handling the class for you. What else, sir? What else I can do? I need some response from you people. I'm not dealing anything on the detailed derivation. I'm telling things like stories. Even in the class also I asked you. If you are going to observe the class properly, automatically you can answer these questions. You could have scribbled in your note. Even I told you take a first course in turbulence by techniques. Read the first chapter. Sir, there is a limitation for all. That's all I can say.
Sir, can we continue the class?
But I'm going to give a time until 6 o'clock. Can you write up on turbulence sphere, pressure sphere, and what do you mean by turbulence? There is a how you are going to relate your turbulence factor with the turbulent density. Can you submit an assignment within 6 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sure,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Next part of that, I told you in the last class itself. Okay, what is the limitations associated with your turbulence sphere and pressure sphere? Even if you look at your turbulence sphere, okay, so there you need a force measurement apparatus. Then only you can have a force measurement unit. Okay, that is a drag measurement. Then only you can measure your CD value. But that's why we went for your pressure sphere. Okay, in the pressure sphere, okay, for example, you take a front view of the pressure. If I am going to take a cross section here, if you look at that, okay, that cross section, if you see that, you are going to have 4 holes. Okay, so if you look at the angle between from the central axis, angle between them, it's going to be 22.5. So now these 4 holes they are going to interconnected, and we are going to measure your pressure at that point. Okay, pressure at that point. Using that, I'm going to calculate your CP value. That's what we did in the case of your pressure sphere. So using the CP value, same way for at a theoretical CP value. What is the theoretical CP value at the critical Reynolds number? It's going to be 1.22. It's going to occur at a CP value of 1.22 at a critical Reynolds number. Okay, so that's going to be occur at 3 lakh. Okay, RE critical is going to be 2,99,000. Okay, so now using that, you can calculate your turbulence factor same way, whatever the one you have done it for this one. And I told you, okay, if your turbulence level is going to be, turbulence factor is going to be less than 1.05, whatever the turbulence factor I'm calculating here, your turbulence factor I am calculating here. Okay, if it is going to be less than 1.05, sorry, 1.05, so automatically what will happen, you can't whatever your method you are adopting here for that turbulence sphere and pressure sphere, it's not going to be suitable for turbulence measurement. Same way, if your Mach number is going to be greater than 0.35, you can't use your turbulence factor. This way of pressure sphere and turbulence sphere, using that you can't measure your turbulence number. Okay, so now we have to go for another method, that is going to be hardware anemometer. So in this class, okay, I'm going to talk about that. Okay, your hardware anemometer, okay, is basically an outline only. So mainly outline how we are going to use for measuring the turbulence and all, simple construction and those things we look at that right now. While going for a non-intrusive way of this one, okay, your turbulence measurement, I'll explain you how you are arriving at those equations and all. I'll explain to you if required. Okay. So a hardware anemometer is nothing but, okay, you might have seen your Wheatstone bridge. Can any one of you talk about that Wheatstone bridge? Wheatstone bridge. Any idea? What do you mean by Wheatstone bridge? Quick, sir. You might have studied these things in your school. Even in your instrumentation course also, half bridge, full bridge. Can you remember that? I was handling that lab. Have you seen something like that somewhere?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you have a resistance, okay, R1, R2, R3, R4. You can think about your full bridge, your half bridge and all, okay. Let us not go into that right now, okay. Full bridge and half bridge, okay. Keep in mind something, okay. Now, what you can do is, if you look at that, okay, the resistance, through the resistance, the current is going to follow. So what will happen? Resistance means it's going to be a heating. Okay. It's going to be having a heating is going to be there. One of your resistance we are going to replace with the hot wire. And one of the resistance we are going to replace with the hot wire. And so here you, for maintaining your temperature, okay, someone is going to cool down the hot wire. Okay, some other way you are going to cool down the hot wire. How much amount of voltage required to keep it as a constant temperature? How much amount of power required to keep it as a constant temperature? That's what your constant temperature anemometer. Constant temperature anemometer. So I'm going to take one of the, in the Wheatstone bridge, I'm going to replace the one of the resistance with the help of a hot wire, and I'm going to keep the hot wire in the flow. Okay, hot wire in the flow, and because of the flow over your hot wire, what will happen? Because of the flow over your hot wire, the wire is going to get cooled down. So for compensating that, okay, whatever the cooling effect, whatever your radiation effect, whatever the radiation or a convection effect, okay, for cooling down, for returning back to the original temperature, how much amount of for maintaining at a constant temperature, how much amount of power required? That's going to be related to your velocity of the flow. Okay, you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now in the Wheatstone bridge, one of the resistance we are going to replace the hot wire. Okay, that hot wire we are going to keep it in the flow. Because of the flow over the your air flow over there or whatever the flow over the wire, that automatically because of the heat transfer effect, okay, your convection effect, radiation effect, okay, what will happen? The temperature of the wire is going to decrease. Now, first approach is I want to keep the temperature of the wire as a constant. So how much amount of power required or how much amount of voltage required to make it as a constant? That's what your constant temperature anemometer. So now I am going to go for a calibration of your anemometer, Cartware anemometer, okay, for a different velocity. How much your this one, your cooling rate. So depending on the your temperature and those things and all. So that calibration data used to be there in the your instrument. So if you are going to measure a instantaneous field over there, you can accordingly you can measure the your this one. So the turbulence is going to be is your turbulence deviation from the mean speed divided by mean speed. So you can measure it directly your this one. So this is a radiation, okay. The rate of heat release rate, heat dissipation, we are going to measure it with the help of this one. H is equal to your I square R, because that's what the power you are going to provide. I square R is nothing but your V into I. V into I. V is equal to, we know that IR from the Ohm's law. If you substitute it, you are going to get your power is equal to I square R. Okay, that's going to be related to the A plus B root of V into T minus TA. Okay, so V is the your flow velocity. And TA is the room temperature, T is the wire temperature. What we call this formula as a King's formula. We will call this formula as a King's formula. Just to go through that, and if you have any questions, please ask me. I have another one more type also there. That also I need to talk about. You take a 2 minutes time, see that. Have you understood that? Any question on that? Your constant temperature anemometer, what we call it as a CTA. Here A and B are your constants. Calibration constants. Okay. So next is we will go ahead for your constant current anemometer. Constant current anemometer. Okay. What we call here is this one is a CCA. We will call it as a CCA. Here also for through the wire we are going to whatever the your hot wire we have. Okay, through that we are going to have a constant current is allowed to pass through. Okay, so because of the dissipation, that's going to cool down. So for maintaining that, we are going to pass the because of the cooling effect, your flow through current is going to be increases. So how much the deviation is going to be, that's what the one you are going to measure in the case of your constant current anemometer. So here through the wire we are going to have a constant current is going to be there. In the previous case, constant temperature case, constant temperature. Here we will maintaining the constant current anemometer. So if you look at that, most of the your anemometer, hot wire anemometer, they will be using a constant temperature anemometer when compared to constant current anemometer. But even some cases, will be having a constant current also, because this is more easy in handling and other things. Even constant temperature anemometer. So you might have seen that a single wire. If you look at that, the hot wire and all, we'll be using a platinum wire. Platinum wire. Do you know the size of the diameter of the wire? Something close to 50 micron. And if you look at the length of that wire, it's going to be something close to 2 mm. It's going to be close to 2 mm. See that, you are going to have a probe like that. So here you have to solder between that. These you are going to create a contact like that. See the TDS of that. Each probe is costing something close to $150 to $200. Normally, we used to make our own your hot wire and all. It's a little bit easy. Okay, I'll tell you about that. So Dantec and all, each hot wire probe, you can't solder it simply like that. You have to buy it as a probe from them only. Each probe is going to be something close to $150 for a single wire. If it is a cross wire and all, for measuring a single wire means you have to do only one direction. If you go for a cross wire, you can do it for even 2 or 3 also. 3-dimensional cases. Just if you are not going to control your current and your temperature properly, automatically the wire will go off. So normally I have learned this technique from IIT Kanpur, one of the technician here. So they used to have a golden probe. So they will take a platinum wire, that's going to be platinum or a tungsten wire. They coated with the silver, because the diameter of the wire is going to be 50 micron. So they will be having a coated silicon wire here. So in the wire itself, they will take a coated silicon wire. With the help of a microscope, they used to create a solder. But the problem here is, here also the technician, if it is unqualified, automatically is going to create a big bead over here. while connecting these two. So automatically this is going to end up in a erroneous reading. Erroneous reading. Okay. So you have to very careful. Okay, you have to put a very smaller dot. So you have to take a coated tungsten wire and you have to place it on that. Okay, and you have to solder it. Now, but normally if you look at the original your hot wire, you are going to have an uncoated wire, bare your tungsten wire. Okay, or your bare platinum wire, tungsten wire. Okay, so now what they do is, okay, the silver coating is there. They'll take a dilute nitric acid and they'll put a drop of that one. So automatically whatever the silver present over there, it's going to reduce as your silver nitrate. Okay, that's going to be removed. That's all. So you are going to get a wire, very simple way. But you have to do with the help of a microscope. You need a fairly bit of very good training. Then you can do it very easily. Any questions, sir? Your hot wire anemometer. Mainly you know about constant temperature anemometer. First thing. Any questions, sir? Okay. So now in the last class, I mentioned about your second throat and diffuser and all. Okay. So I need to add small points with that. Okay. With that, I'll stop the class here. Okay. So this is your, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, okay, a portion of your blow down tunnel, a portion of your blow down tunnel. Portion of blow down tunnel, blow down supersonic tunnel. So the main purpose of that, okay, what will happen? Sometimes if you don't have a second throat, let us assume that, okay, you don't have a diffuser alone. This component alone is not there. So here we need to look at that, the ratio between your P0E by P0I, how that one. Okay. So if your P0E is going to be lower, automatically what will happen? Whatever the flow, okay, if it is equivalent to 1, you are not going to establish any flow here. But now, okay, you are going to reduce below than 1. So initially what will happen? Your flow is going to be established. First, a shock is going to appear here. Initially. Okay, initially it's going to appear here. So then, with respect to time, what will happen? If you are going to decrease even further, I am going to decrease the P0E by P01 further. So your shock is going to move. Keep on moving. So if it is a shock means, what is your phenomena associated with that? Okay, what is going to happen? Okay, let us look at that one by one. Okay. So first is, okay, if you are going to decrease the your P naught E by P naught I below 1.0, the flow situation same as the your convergent divergent nozzle. Okay, so your P naught E or P naught I is stagnation pressure at the nozzle. I means inlet, E means exit respectively. So now what will happen? Okay, if you are going to decrease your P naught E by P naught I still further, a sock is going to appear at the nozzle throat. That is at this point. Okay, if you are going to decrease your P naught E by P naught I further, it's going to move towards your nozzle exit. This is going to move towards the nozzle exit now. Okay, so now with a portion of the your that sock that is going to occur at this your divergent portion of the nozzle. Okay, there is a severe stagnation pressure loss. Why there is a severe stagnation pressure loss? If you look at that, okay, this component, okay, your Mach number is more because at the exit of that. So if the Mach number is more, okay, that your P naught E by P naught I, if you look at that in terms of your minus delta S by R, that is your isentropic. So non-isentropic phenomena, that change in entropy, non-isentropic phenomena are going to increase with respect to increase in your Mach number. So automatically more amount of stagnation pressure loss is going to be there with increase. If you are going to place your sock is going to place at the nozzle exit where your Mach number is going to be higher. So now what we have to do is, okay, we need to have we want to suck the sock and we put it in the somewhere in the another one more second throat area. For that you need a second throat we need. Okay, so to pass the flow after the sock, the second throw must be at least an area of A2 star. Okay, so now if you are going to have a, okay, now the second throat we are going to have a area of A2 star. I'm going to have a A2 star. So I'm going to decrease that. Okay, I'm trying your pressure P naught E by P naught I. Okay, further, okay, I'm going to place it in the divergent portion of your second throat. Means I'm going to keep on decreasing that your P naught E by P naught I. So then at the end, if you want to effective your because even if your sock is going to be thrown out of that your these portion, when you are going to decrease your P naught E by P naught I still further. Even you are going if you are going to decrease that. So but any case, okay, you are going to get a sock, okay, even after that. Okay, for maximizing your pressure recovery, you have to place your sock, okay, in the throat of your this one. So finally, okay, after swallowing the sock, okay, by the diffuser, okay, so they'll try to place the sock in the second throat area. Through that, we are going to have a sock strength is going to be minimum. Strength of the sock is going to be minimum because where your Mach number is going to be 1 over there. So basically what we call it as, okay, that's what I told you in the last class. Okay, at the time of starting of the tunnel, your supersonic tunnel, the load is going to be higher. Automatically what will happen? Load is higher. The reason is because of this one. Suddenly decrease your means accelerate your load down tunnel and all. You have to open for a higher pressure. Then you have to gradually bring down to a normal level to establish this one. So basically that's the overspeeding. So overspeeding and sock swallowing, one of the sock swallowing technique. So here your the area ratio between your A2 star by A1 star is going to be related to your this one, your stagnation pressure loss. A2 star by A1 star is equal to P02 by P01 by P02. Okay. Any questions, sir? Any question? please look at that. Okay, already I have we had a group with us. Okay, expanded airlines group. Okay, so you can ask the question.